Good morning. I'm Parampreet Singh. Welcome to the Meditation Questions podcast, part of the Immersion Meditation Network. Meditation without gods, reincarnation, afterlife, or the supernatural. If you'd like to support us, please visit meditationquestions.com. Today's question: do I have to close my eyes to meditate? The short answer: no, you do not. You can totally keep your eyes open for meditation. There are many, many traditions of meditation that involve keeping the eyes either completely open or partially open. You are in good stead if you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes for meditation. You're not going to get a subpar, diluted, or weaker version of meditation. The stereotypical idea of meditation is that if I close my eyes, all of my thoughts and my problems will disappear, and I won't have to think of them, and I'll be in a state of magnificent bliss. That might happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. Don't want to limit you. Usually with meditation, it's a bit more like a game of peekaboo with babies. It's like, oh, here I am. Oh, now I'm gone. Oh, I'm back again. The eyes being closed don't actually make anything disappear. It's going to pop up again. But if it works for you for a short time, more power to you. The main reason to close your eyes for meditation is that closing the eyes is a signal to the body that it's time to go into relaxation mode. When the eyes are open, some people get distracted by their surroundings. I mean, the surroundings are right literally in front of your open eyes. Whereas if you close your eyes, you can turn your attention away from the outside to the inside, to things like your breath, your heartbeat, the tension in your muscles. And as you increase awareness of these, you can actually have some control of them. Not complete control, but a modicum of control. And by controlling them, you are more able to let them settle down a little bit. You can reduce your heart rate, which results in decreased blood pressure. And in earlier episodes of Meditation Questions, we saw that this was a thing people were able to do with regular meditation practice. Within weeks, they were able to decrease their blood pressure by just relaxing themselves. Another thing that you can do is you can release the tension in the muscles. This is probably the number one thing people look for when they're doing meditation, or maybe doing like a really long, extended yoga relaxation, where you just like, it's all that tension in your muscles. It's just there like a constant background buzzing. But with your eyes closed, you can focus on it, you can note it, and you can even consciously just tell yourself, relax. Just let it go and just ease that tension. You can do this with your eyes open, but it's much, much easier to do it with your eyes closed. Another thing is much easier to do along those lines with your eyes closed is to just watch all of the stressful thoughts. Now, with thoughts, I'm of the opinion you can't really control your thoughts. You can't stop them, but you can observe them. And by observing and witnessing, maybe even like noting whether the thought is helping you or not, you can reduce them. And again, that's easier to do with your eyes closed. In terms of the external outside distractions we talked about, if your eyes are not closed, depending on where you're meditating, if you're using a bedroom space or a common space, You might be faced with all of the other things in your life that need attention, such as your tasks list, your laundry, all the books that you've bought and are piled up upon your counters and your bedside table and maybe on the floor. Can you tell someone buys too many books? Guilty. It just is kind of a reminder, a visual reminder. Oh, I bought those books. I want to read those books and I have to read those books. Maybe I should start reading those books right now, but you don't want those thoughts coming up during meditation. Meditation time is for meditation. Other things you might notice that your space is dirty and you need to clean it. The point is that when something is in front of your eyes, it's going to trigger thoughts of things that you have to do. So those are all the reasons why you might want to close your eyes. But there are also reasons why you might not want to close your eyes. The number one reason we gave for eyes closed is that you go into relaxation mode faster. Well, that might not be a positive thing because you might fall asleep. Eyes closed is one of those cues of the body that says, oh, it's time to sleep. Just like lying in bed is one of the cues the body has is, oh, it's time to sleep. Sometimes you don't want to go into relaxation mode. Another reason you might not want to close your eyes is it might not feel safe. You might not feel comfortable. So that's a really good reason to not close your eyes during meditation. There's many, many opportunities and ways in which you can meditate with your eyes open, and we're going to talk about them a little bit further into this discussion. What do I do with my eyes when I'm meditating? 70% of my formal meditation is with eyes closed, and 30% of my formal meditation is with my eyes open. Way back decades ago when I started meditating, it was more of a 50-50. I was lighting candles and burning incense during meditation. And while I was meditating on the candle flame, I would watch the pattern of the flame flickering or the pattern of the smoke coming off the incense stick. It was delightful and it was engaging and it was relaxing and it was meditative. I don't burn candles or incense anymore, but that meditation habit has stuck with me. Whenever there is a flame present, whether I'm at a campfire or a backyard fire pit or an indoor fireplace or even a gas stove, I'll still be drawn to just watch the flame as it shifts and moves, as it changes color, the blues, the yellow, the oranges, the reds, as the flame sputters and crackles if it's a wood fire. In those situations, I'm usually the last one at a campfire or fireplace. I like to let the fire go out on its own before I leave because it gives me an opportunity to meditate on the flame. When I'm making a cup of tea, I'll just stare at the water as it's starting to boil, just as those tiny, tiny bubbles start on the bottom of the pot and eventually float up and become more and more vigorous. I'll just look at that. And then I add the tea and cover it and let it steep. It's springtime here where I live and the birds are out. I have a window in front of me and the birds will often come and perch on this wire outside my window. And whenever a bird comes and just sits there and looks around, I'll take a moment and just look at the bird. Just as the bird's looking everywhere else, I'll just look at it silently, watching it, trying to experience the life of that bird, what it's up to right now. And it becomes this wonderful nature meditation connected with all the life that's around me and near me. And speaking of nature meditation, another really popular one is staring at a flower. I've tried to do this one indoors with flowers. I haven't really had success. I prefer to do that outside, but I know lots of people will meditate on flowers or watching a tree. This one I'm better at. Again, I have this beautiful tree in front of my window where I work. And when it's windy, it sways, the branches sway, the leaves flutter. It's just a delightful little meditation. I'll just look at it, just watch them doing that for a few minutes at a time. Those are some ways you can meditate with your eyes open. Some other ways, you could go for a walk without conversation. And I mean this whether you're alone or with someone else. Just walk without talking. This part doesn't have to be in nature. If you want to do it in nature, that's great. But even if you're in the middle of a city, you can walk around and just listen to the sounds, just look at the buildings or the pattern or the people without labeling them, without judging them, without trying to comment on them. Just look at them with a gentle gaze, an inquisitive gaze. Just walk and observe and try to remain silent, outwardly and inwardly. Just focus on the movement of your feet as they lift off the ground and then touch back onto the ground. See if you can focus on each part of that movement, where the heel of your foot touches, then the middle of your foot, and then the front of your foot. And then again, as it lifts off the ground and then comes back down. Another popular way to meditate with your eyes open is to meditate on a photo or a diagram. I also used to do this a lot. I had so many photos of deities of all religions and yantras, which are geometric shapes that I used to meditate on. I've given up the gods and the supernatural, so I'm not drawn to this type of meditation anymore. But if meditating on some sort of shape or symbol or deity or icon comes naturally to you, then you should definitely go for it. I highly recommend it. And now I have my ultimate recommendation for open eye meditation. And it's one of the hardest, but it's also one of the most rewarding. And here it is. When you get up in the morning, after you brush your teeth, and you have this nice, fresh, minty taste in your mouth, look in the mirror. And normally when we look in the mirror, we're just looking at like our face as a whole. We're not really focusing on anything particular, and we don't take much time looking in the mirror. But try it as a meditation. Look into your own eyes in the mirror with the same energy you would for someone you love, with the same energy as you would for someone you care for very, very deeply. Smile, relax, ease your breathing. See if you can really follow your breath in and out. In and out. And then, if you're into it, if you feel courageous, say to yourself out loud, you deserve to be loved and cared for. You deserve to feel good about yourself. And then silently continue to look in the mirror for a few more breaths. And then move on with your day in whichever way is necessary. But now you've done that 1 or 2 minute open eye meditation looking into your own eyes. So this is actually a quadruple eye meditation. People